oh, we're not there yet, and we were told it was a month ago. Well, we are due to this or that and a comedy of errors, we are still so far ahead than the rest of the state. So, eyes are on us for sure. So I think at this point, we've got Tim Saunders on the phone and Ben Bowman also from the Regional Workforce Group. And I've just asked them to touch on, we want to hear from all of our companies, but just to give us a quick overview of the unemployment in our county versus the region versus the state and that type of thing, but also these regional and local job fairs that they're having electronically. So Tim Saunders.
Good morning, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk with you this morning. I'm Tim Saunders. I'm the Business Engagement and Outreach Coordinator for the Central Virginia Workforce Development Board. I've been working for the organization since March. And one thing I've noticed since I came to work for the organization is just how many services we have to support businesses in our community. I have lived in this area virtually my whole life. And my eyes have really been opened to all of the opportunities that exist now for businesses that I didn't even know about. Even though I was a journalist covering this area for 14 years prior to taking on this role, I didn't have an opportunity to learn about a lot of this. So my goal in this new role is to help get the word out to both businesses and job seekers in the community about how the workforce development system can benefit them. And it is a system. We are a partnership of different organizations, different nonprofits in our community that all work together to provide employment services and support for our business community. So please be aware of that and know that if you are a business owner or if you're a job seeker, come to us. We do have opportunities and options available to support you in a variety of ways, whether it's paying for training for your employees, or if you are a job seeker who is needing training, we can pay for that in many cases. And we are doing that right now. So please do come to us. Our career center, our Virginia Career Works Lynchburg Center, our comprehensive center located on Oddfellows Road in Lynchburg, is back open now, providing employment services on an appointment basis. We are only allowing people in by appointment at this time. So from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. on weekdays, Monday through Friday, job seekers can come to our Lynchburg Center on Oddfellows Road and receive employment services. One thing we've been trying to do as a workforce board since March is tracking unemployment and helping to tell the story of what's going on with unemployment, plotting how things are changing for our business community and for the public at large. And each Friday, we send out a statement that summarizes where we are in terms of unemployment numbers for our region. If you've been receiving that statement, you know that we have been, for this region, at a pretty sustained level in terms of unemployment numbers since about early May. We have about 9,000 people, roughly, filing claims for unemployment in this region at this time. And our region consists of the city of Lynchburg, Bedford, Campbell, Amherst, and Appomattox counties. So within that workforce region, as of May of this year, it was estimated that we had employment of around 98,700 people, which is a little lower than what we normally see. Our workforce can range anywhere from around 100 to 125,000 people, our labor pool. But one bright spot, I will start with some good news, is that in the month of June, it was estimated that our region added 3,700 jobs. And we included that in our statement that went out last week. So that is some good news. But again, we do have between 8,000 and 9,000 people filing claims for unemployment. And there are two types of claims that are filed. There are what we call initial claims. These are the first-time claims that people file when they are entering the unemployment system. And obviously that number was very high in early April. That's when we saw our peak. I think it was the week of April the 4th, we saw our highest numbers for this region. And ever since then, those first-time claims have been trending down until this month. We have seen that the number of first-time claims tick back up just a bit for our region. I think last week we had about 530 first-time claims for unemployment, which may sound like a low number, But you have to also factor in what we call continued claims for unemployment. These are the claims that people are filing after they have entered the unemployment system. They have to continue filing each week to continue receiving benefits. And so that's what the continued unemployment claim number measures. And we have, as of last week, around 8,500 people filing continued claims for unemployment in our region. Specifically, Bedford County, we had about 1,858 people filing continued claims last week, and that is lower than what we've seen since the week of April the 18th. So that number has trended back down to where we were earlier in the pandemic, which is good. But again, if I can't bring the plot line up on the screen at the moment, but if you could see how it's trending, we really are kind of just staying flat at this point in terms of the number of people filing unemployment claims. Again, as Robert mentioned, it is trending down, but it's a slight downward trend. We have a sustained number of people at a high rate filing unemployment. Just to kind of compare this year to last year, our unemployment rate for the region in May was 8.6%. Last May of 2019, it was 3.2%. So we are significantly higher. But again, we are faring better than a lot of other areas of the state. Our unemployment number in this region is lower than many other areas of the state. So I would be happy to answer any questions that people might have about unemployment at this time. And we'll turn that back over to Tracy.
Okay, thank you so much, Tim. Please get in touch with Tim. Oh, I hear an echo. Does everyone hear when I talk? Is there an echo? Okay, it's better now. Get in touch with Tim and Ben when you want to hire 10 people or something like that. They can come in and do a job fair just like we're doing right here and screen people so that you get the best to interview later. So they can do some really neat things for you like that. So get in touch with me and I'll connect you with them at that time. We've got some various company leaders that I'd like to hear from at this point. I do have some things that I wanted to bring up, but I think I don't want to run out of time. I know the emergency workplace and safety standards is on some of your minds. So one or two of you may want to comment on the governor's directives on some of the things that just came out in the past few days where there are new rules, or they're more firm, I guess you could say, in the workplace and what you have to do to make employees feel safe. And then yesterday, the governor made an announcement about a new grant program where it sounds really great. I did post it last night to our website, bedfordeconomicdevelopment.com. However, it's important to note that grant may help some people, but if you have received PPP or EIDL, which is almost all of our companies have received one or the other, you would not be eligible for that grant. But I did post it for anyone that maybe missed the EIDL or the PPP. And at this point, I would like to, I think one of our speakers is getting her kids off to school. So I'm going to start with the Smythe Company, Greg Dooley. Greg, are you on? I'd like to hear from our company for just a couple minutes about what you guys are seeing. Kind of tell us how many employees and what you do, just to make sure everybody's aware, and just give us the highlight of what you're doing right now. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes, you sound perfect.
I don't know about perfect, but it'll be okay. We are a label producer here in Bedford City. We make labels for a lot of the essential food products, cleaning products, things like that. We currently employing about 108 people. Our business has really been busy since the pandemic started. We've seen record numbers of orders, fulfilling needs of disinfectant, hand sanitizer companies, bleach companies, things like that. We knew since we were deemed an essential business early on that we had to figure out how to make the environment safe for our employees. So we really focused on our health and safety. being upfront, communicating with all our employees, instituting new cleaning procedures, things like that. We are limiting contact between cross shifts. We let folks clean before they leave. We let them leave 15 minutes earlier than the shift comes in. Things like that to really, try to help keep everyone safe and COVID free, I guess you would say. But like I said, we gave everyone care packages with hand sanitizers, masks. We offer additional employee assistance programs for people that are having trouble dealing with this isolation, separation, and things that COVID brought to us. We do close contact interviews with folks that have been exposed with outside our facility. We also are limiting company-wide travel. We're not traveling like we were. We have also, manufacturing breaks down. So we had to put in new critical vendor supplier protocols, things like that to keep our employees safe. I think that's about all.
Are you all growing? Employee-wise? Have you added jobs?
Yes, we have. We are currently growing. We've added around 12 new employees that are coming on board within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Wow.
We have helped, with the closing of Wyona here in Bedford. We were able to draft some of their employees. That's
fantastic.
So that's really helped. And like I said, we have been blessed. We are probably 7 times as busy as we have ever been in this industry. I've been in here for 35 years. I've never seen order volumes at the levels they are now.
Wow. So that's great to hear.
Yes.
And we love your labels. We all use them in our kitchen. So thank you.
Yes,
it's great to have you on here. Thank you so much, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to check on Sarah. If I thought I heard you possibly on the phone. Is this a good time for you, or do you want me to call on you later, Sarah?
Hey, Tracy, it's Sarah. I'm back on the line, just not on the WebEx.
Okay. Do you want to share anything with us?
Sure. So yeah, just briefly, obviously everybody's been impacted by this COVID situation, and we started out early meeting with employees individually. We actually prepared a pretty thorough presentation and met with employees 10 at a time. This was back when you could only have 10 people in a room.
And Sarah, I better say she's from Simplematic. I didn't introduce you as.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. Sarah Orange, and I'm CFO at Simplematic Automation. And in addition to CFO, I handle HR too. We're about 120 employees. About 80 of those are in the Forest area. We have a facility in Bedford County, and then about the remainder of the 40 are spread out all over the U.S. and actually internationally as well. And we're an automation company. But anyway, so yeah, at the very beginning, we met with employees 10 at a time and presented kind of our plan, and a lot of employees had questions, are we an essential business? And we actually ended up having an order for a ventilator company that we did the automation for the printed circuit boards that go into those ventilators. So that right there put us as essential. But even in addition to that, we've got prescription fulfillment and pharmacy. We've got medical device. We've got a lot of different. But yeah, the biggest thing with us, I think the biggest challenge has just been the calming the anxiety among employees. If you're looking at the media, it's pretty, the numbers and the fear factor out there really causes a lot of anxiety in employees. So we've just really tried to handle every situation one by one and address it. Some of the precautionary measures we've taken at Simplematic, we're practicing social distancing. We've provided masks to all of our employees. We're taking temperature checks for all employees. Any visitors have to be pre-approved to come into the building. They have to have their temperature checked and fill out a questionnaire. We've not completely abandoned travel, but we've cut back extremely on travel and kind of put some stipulations on where people can travel and what they have to do when they return. So just little things like that. We've increased sanitization measures, just trying to really keep that anxiety down and still run our business without, without having to deal with some of these hurdles. And of course, our orders are down a little bit, just mainly because customers are pushing things out. But overall, we're still kicking and still cruising along. And I do have that presentation, Tracy. I know you mentioned if anybody wants to reach out to me, I can provide my email address to the group, and you feel free to ask me any questions, or if you want access to that, I'm happy to provide it to you.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Sarah did such a great job with their own safety measure guidelines, making a nice presentation format that others can learn from and get ready for the next time that we have an emergency. It was really well done. So reach out to me or reach out directly to Sarah, and we'll get that to you. Thank you, Sarah. And then I thought it would be good to hear from one of our, oh, go ahead, sorry. Oh, I thought you said something, but thank you. I thought it would be good to hear from one of our restaurants. So I've asked East Coast Wings if they would share, what they're seeing right now. I mean, obviously, all of our restaurants are following the CDC protocols, so you don't necessarily have to go through all of that, but just kind of let us know what you want people to know about the restaurant industry and how you're managing. Mike, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, beautiful. Yeah, so we're with, I'm the owner, my wife and I are the owners of East Coast Wings, which is just up on 221 on the Lynchburg border. We're obviously a franchise based out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We're the only location in Virginia. I think most of you are familiar with our menu. We have 60 flavors of wings, full grill menu, burgers, flatbreads, etc. So it's been quite a journey. March 17th or whatever, when we learned about this, we made the decision initially to furlough about 18 people on March 21st. Thankfully, going into this, we were about 30% takeout. So we were one of the restaurants that knew how to do takeout. And that was a blessing. That was a blessing combined with our awesome support from our corporate team in Winston-Salem. I cannot, our CEO, Sam Ballas, is on the board of the International Franchise Association. So he was on the front lines in DC, meeting with Congress, meeting with McConnell, and all of those meetings, setting up the policy, and he was feeding all of that information to us in real time. So that was invaluable to us. And that combined with his team preparing white papers, giving all the locations guidance as to how to react to this, how to navigate through it, crisis management and everything. It was invaluable. So the first week was interesting. Takeout, as Robert mentioned, everybody was scared that first week. We were on lockdown. Sales dropped a little bit. That first Friday night was insane. And from there on out until we got to phase one, even into phase two, it was crazy. So what we basically did to retain key employees, obviously we had to furlough a lot of people that we didn't need, but we started bringing some of those back almost within 2 weeks because of the business dictated that we had to have that. But we took some of our key servers and basically made them hosts and takeout specialists, and made sure that we took care of the people that are taking care of us. And as it continued to grow, we were, when Governor Northam announced that we could go to phase two, we had to wait about 2 weeks before we did it because we weren't ready. Number one, we wanted to do a complete deep cleaning of the restaurant, super deep cleaning and sanitation of everything because we hadn't had guests in there at all. And we had to staff up, we had to do some training. So we waited a couple of weeks. And since we've done that, even with, now that we're in phase three, we're still, we're on track to have a record month in July. It's amazing. The support that we've had from the community, local businesses, just everybody. I've pretty much hired 12 new people since we got back up into phase three. And I've probably got the strongest organization I've had in the store since we've been open, in a little over 2 years. So it's been phenomenal. We still don't take a bit of it for granted. We know it could all change tomorrow. We continue everything that we're doing, the temperature checks, the PPE, the masks, the gloves, the sanitizer, the cleaning, everything that corporate's telling us to do in the CDC, we continue to do it. But we've been really blessed to come through this. And ironically now, takeout is still our driver. We're still about 60% takeout. So that tells us our guest base is still hesitant to go in and sit in a restaurant. So it's consistent. It's consistently about 60% still, but and since that, so what impact that has, this gets back to retaining key employees. With our servers and bartenders are obviously taking a hit on their tips with that, but obviously the top line sales are still strong. So I recently actually started this week, we gave our servers and bartenders a pretty significant hourly pay raise to help get them through this until we get back to 100% to retain, our key employees that have really been there for us. So yeah, so that's kind of a summary of where we are. The brand has done well. We're continuing to, we're just continuing to do what we've been doing. Keep focused on it.
Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming on. I think it's important for all of us to know when and hire 12 and have the best July. That's just amazing. You've done a great job, and because of you and others, we have kept our cases low in Bedford County. So you are following the right protocols. Thank you. We've got Innovair and Georgia Pacific on the line. We're going to start with them, and then we're going to open it up if anyone else has some high-level news that they want to report out in a nutshell. So starting Chris Hughes,
Tracy,
if you can. Yes.
Hey, Tracy, sorry, this is Sarah Orangian with Atlantic. I just wanted to add one really brief thing. I'm sure most of you guys have already seen. Thank you. I'm sure most of you guys have already seen this in the news, but Governor Northam we're the first state to issue some additional state guidelines for workplaces, and I don't know if you guys have already mentioned that.
Oh yeah, so I think Chris is going to talk about that probably from Georgia Pacific. I know he came and talked to our Board of Supervisors about that. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Yes,
yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to add, is just so that everybody knows.
Yeah, I mean, he's come out with very stringent guidelines for businesses. Chris, can you comment a little bit on how you guys are managing some of those standards?
Let's see, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just give you a quick overview. Georgia Pacific's Big Island Mill, 130 years old. We still employ about 330 people, and we make container and liner board products. We make boxes, the products that become boxes. We've done well through the pandemic. We've had no layoffs, no slowbacks. So we've had a remarkably good run, knock on wood. So, compliance is part of our corporate culture, and we're going to comply with any rule, any regulation, any law. We will meet it, and we will, whenever possible, exceed it, especially on environmental standards and the like. But I've tried to draw people's attention to the emergency temporary standard. And if you haven't reviewed this document, you really need to pull it up on the old Google and take a look at it, because it's impacting your operations whether you know it or not. And there's some training, there's some requirements within it that are not intuitive, and their processes. If your employee feels like you're not in compliant, then there are things for them to contact OSHA directly, which is fine. But all of that stuff is in there, and you've got to be aware of it. We've got a staff and we've got corporate headquarters where we can meet these requirements, but I don't know if the smaller business, the 15, 20 person shop, can do it. So emergency temporary standard, there's already a meeting scheduled to make this a permanent standard. And the piece that troubles me as an American citizen is, our local representatives aren't voting on this stuff. They're not debating it and performing their vital role in a democracy. I mean, these are being decided on by committees and Zoom meetings and then being signed into law. So that's troubling to me that our input into this process, our recommendations into this process, to me, don't seem like they're getting a fair hearing. And
Thank you, Chris. I think Lucas was on earlier, and she wanted me to make sure that that everyone knows that the Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance is working very hard on this issue right now, and they're gathering information from manufacturers and all businesses about what your thoughts are and what you would like their actions to be. So please get in touch with John Putney. You can reach out to the Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance. I think his email is jputney at, oh gosh, Lynchburg. Does anyone
John's
know?
on my speed dial. He's on my speed dial, and he's a great resource. And he's very plugged into the process.
Right. What is his email? Is it jputney at lynchburgregion.org?
Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. This would be a good day to, or this week, to email him and let him know what your thoughts are and start that conversation with him, because he's reaching out to all of our legislators right now. Just, you know, if there's anything that can be tweaked on it as far as protecting the bulk of, you know, our businesses that will have to deal with this and have the most, you know, that are most concerned with it, please reach out to him.
Jay Putney, and that's Putney at lynchburgregion.org.
Okay, one more time.
Jay Putney at lynchburgregion.org.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Chad Stevenson is on from Innovair, formerly Mail America. They're our second largest. What are you seeing there?
Yeah, hello, Tracy. Thank you for having us on. I do want to thank you for having this forum, first of all. I mean, this is a really nice opportunity to talk through different lines of business. You know, I think a few things we're seeing, much like Greg and Sarah and Chris were talking about, we were deemed an essential business as well, right? We're in the direct mail line, and this has been a huge year for political for us, right? So driving the political gain. Nonprofit has stayed really strong. We found our commercial business dropped, and it dropped very quickly as the pandemic hit and we ran through it. We found ourselves quickly adjusting by dropping with some furloughs and doing the things needed, but we found that we've ramped back up with the political timing, right? Now is starting peak for us. So we're looking at a hiring plan. We're pushing some additional hires. So, you know, ultimately we'll be working with Tim in some of those areas if we can. You know, I think the biggest thing for us is, you know, I don't want to repeat a lot of the things that Sarah and Greg had mentioned, but, you know, we communicate differently these days, right? We find ourselves now through email actions, and as Sarah mentioned, in groups of 10, and defining new ways of communicating to our employees, because truly we found a lack of information just has been feeding misinformation for our group, because they fill in the blanks, you know, whether a local company's this or that, you know, affects our business really quickly. So been good to get in front of them and keep that activity. And I would like to thank the local area, right? The vendors associated with the area has kept us in place. I mean, I never thought that I would have a conversation that toilet paper could shut us down, right? There were times where, you know, whether I could get a product or not was depending on what the future state looked like for, you know, a national business, right? We have facilities all across, you know, domestic and foreign lands, and we were struggling with that piece of it. So we were able to keep afloat. We were able to keep a good backlog. So great kudos to the group around here. Yourself involved, right? You were able to be an opportunity for us to lean on and ask questions and kind of see what others are doing, and that's been great. We do find ourselves ramping up, I would say, protection-wise. You know, even we started before the mandate, and ultimately I follow Chris's concerns associated with the emergency temp area of it, but you know, as he said, right, we're large enough and we have a lot of things in place currently that we we will be able to work through those. But it is correct. It's going to be difficult for the smaller companies in that area. So thank you for the opportunity. We're open if anybody needs to reach out to us for thoughts or questions of what we've done. I'm certainly open to that too. So thank you, Tracy, for having me.
Well, we sure do appreciate you sharing with us, Chad. You are the second largest employer. I know you have all kinds of things you're juggling, and you have employees on all different levels politically, probably. So I mean, when you have a big company, you're going to be dealing with the whole spectrum. So thank you so much. And at this time, I think it would be good if anyone has some important news that they'd like to share with the group. I think we're all unmuted. We're muting ourselves. So just unmute yourself and give us a little shout out. All right, I'll just call on someone. I see Steve Morris on here. You're with Valtem. Why don't you give us the lay of the land where you are?
Hey, Tracy, how's it going?
Good. I'm good.
I don't know how you pick my name out of everybody's, but I know Tim's on here as well. But we're similar to Innovair. We had a backlog, and we've been able to weather the storm. We got into it early with the COVID. We had a couple temporary workers test positive, so we had all of our safety procedures in place real early as a result of that. It was hard to get a lot of the supplies early on, but we've caught up with that and have a good supply. We've used a group locally all washed up to come in and bomb the place, usually about every 2 weeks, to kill everything viral in the place. But we did all of this and had all the safety protocols in place. Really, I think it was right at the 1st of March. Face masks, gloves, glasses, temperature checks, front office all working remote. We got all that set up. So, you know, we scrambled pretty quickly. We're small enough to adapt, but large enough to luckily afford the resources to do it and stay going. So y'all help with some of the foggings and some of the Lynchburg redevelopment, which was awesome. So we still have everybody working remote in the front part. Everybody in the back's been great. We haven't had any other cases here since early March, which has been great. So we're hoping to see a continued upturn through the end of the summer and hope to get back close to normal in the fall.
All right, well, thank you. I think we're getting some feedback on here, but we all heard what you said. You know, I see, let's see, who else is on here that we want to make sure we hear from? Anyone else want to share anything? If not, please write it in the chat. I've really been surprised and enjoying seeing some of the chat here. I see that we have someone at the state level of the governor's office, Rob McClintock, on the phone, and he wrote, so impressed with business collaboration and collective spirit within the county. So that's good to hear. You know, Pam and I and Wendy and Mary and others, we are associated with the Virginia Economic Development Association and the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. And I can tell you that as a collective economic development group, we've all been fighting hard in the Commonwealth on behalf, for our companies. So please reach out to any of us and let us know how we can help you. Anyone else have any last words?
Hey, Tracy, this is Debbie Seabury over at Lightsheet.
Morning.
Morning, how are you?
Good to hear from you.
Thanks. We've been able to maintain our employees even though our sales have really dropped. In the middle of this, we chose to sort of pivot and design a checking cabinet that can.
Well, then what you might have to do is just log in and log out at the tablet.
What it does is it's a cabinet that can go.
Did you try it at the
different
door?
areas? It's only 18
okay, we'll
inches
try
by
that.
18 inches, and and you can put your tools in it or face masks or anything, and shut the door, turn the knob, the lights come on, and the UVC disinfects the product that's in there. So we've done a little bit of pivot, and we're just releasing the product now for everybody in the area. And actually, we've had a couple orders from people out in California, down in Texas. So it really came from involvement. It started the whole design started with the Volvo plant. They needed to have some of their manufacturing between shifts, put their tools in a box and disinfect them, so the next shift that came in could use the tools. So in the middle of all this, we've sort of pivoted, and since the sales are so down, we've concentrated on this disinfecting cabinet. If anybody's interested, you can go to our website, lightsheet.com, and look at the specs and pictures of it up there.
Thank you, Deb. Creating new products, Simplematic being that you heard from earlier with Sarah Orange, and now Deb with Lightsheet. And I know Automated Industrial Technologies has done that here in Bedford County and others. And it's really exciting to see that people have these creative new moments of new products and what they can do for the future. I want to thank everyone for being on today. Did I miss anyone at all that just has to say something for the group to hear? Don't want to miss anybody. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone. Oh, did I hear somebody?
I was just going to say that because we had so much feedback, some chatter. So if you do want to say something, you might have to kind of raise your hand so that I know who it is, so I can unmute you. Chat me, or put something in the chat. That's all.
Gotcha. And I think that we might have recorded this. Did we record this?
So I forgot to hit it until as you were speaking. So I missed all of Robert and what he was saying, but I got everybody else. So I apologize for that. I don't know if there's a way to go back and do it or not, but I should have had a big fat note to myself.
Yeah, mainly I was hoping that if we did record it, we could read through all the comments. I want to make sure we didn't miss anything important. Hey, thanks everyone. We'll stay in touch with you. The county continues to see what we can do to pivot as well to support you each week. So reach out to us, Pam or myself, Mary Zirkle's on, Wendy Gaylor, Chris Finley from the two chambers, Smith Mountain Lake and Bedford. We're a team and we're here to help. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.